Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Welcome, Maverick family and new viewers from all over the flat earth. Comments? We're going to kind of go down a little bit of that road tonight. Not the flat earth thing specifically, but some other stuff that's just as volatile. But most importantly tonight, we do have Shawn Buckley from the National Citizens Inquiry, who will join us later in the broadcast to give us an update on where everything stands with the NCI. As you probably recall, we did provide some coverage of the NCI when those hearings were taking place across Canada for weeks, about 6 weeks or so, as they stopped in city after city after city to give the voiceless a voice. Those who had been essentially censored during the pandemic, and even now, the NCI allowed them to tell their stories and to bring forth evidence about their experiences during the pandemic. Shawn will have a great deal to share with us tonight, I'm sure, and really looking forward to sharing that with you tonight. Also, if you're a middle-class worker, Joe Biden thinks that you break your neck. I mean, I'm in a bit of a mood tonight, again, just so you're warned, because the insanity is off the charts. It really is. And I can't help but laugh. And I hope tonight you guys can laugh along with me as I show you how Joe Biden thinks we're all a bunch of neck breakers. And how some crazy people want other crazy people to do crazy things, so they tell them crazy things to get them to do crazy things. Much of which is simply not true. We're going to debunk some stuff and unbunk some other stuff. And I never thought I'd be talking like this on a news program, but it's 2023. It's an information war, and the world is upside down. Don't go away. Stay with me. I have so much to share with you tonight. You're not going to want to miss one moment of this. It's going to be a great show. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I'm back. So before we get into other things tonight, I did want to just highlight this story as the James Smith Cree Nation quietly marks the anniversary of a mass stabbing. This is out in Saskatchewan, where this First Nations community quietly gathered today to mark the 1 year anniversary of that tragic event. So some of the families affected by the tragedy did return home to James Smith Cree Nation, which is northeast of Saskatoon. And a year ago, 32-year-old Miles Sanderson went from one home to another. He broke down doors. He killed 11 people. 17 others were injured. Today, a church service and a small gathering in a healing lodge there was taking place. And our thoughts and our hearts go out to that community and to the victims and their families. Also tonight, the Burning Man Festival. Let's start there. A mixed bag of coverage. There was flooding out there. There was a lot of different crazy misinformation, I guess, circulating, saying that because of the flooding and the mud and the blah, 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 that FEMA had been called out. And there were reports that someone had been reported ill with Ebola. And there's been a lot of criticism this year about the Burning Man Festival, which is essentially a gigantic party in the desert. And a lot of criticism of people who went there this year, leaving behind a lot of garbage and crap and not fully dismantling their campsites. I have a live feed out of there right now, actually, showing you kind of what's going on. So we can take you to the Burning Man Festival live. Right now, this is the Burning Man Project. It's sort of like a Mad Max apocalyptic party. There you go. That's what it looks like. And people do some kind of crazy stuff there. Of course, they burn the man. That's a big part of it. And there was somebody who died at the event this year. But officials say that the death of this person at this festival in Nevada was not related to the heavy flooding. That did force, I guess, a lot of people, thousands of people, to shelter in place over the weekend. It essentially left them stranded in the desert for a while. And the sheriff's office out there said that the death happened during the rain event, but we don't really have any other details sort of beyond that. And the organizers of the event said that the death of the unidentified 40-year-old man was unrelated to weather. Emergency crews did attend, but they couldn't resuscitate him after he was found on the playa. And organizers did not initially identify the man, so we don't have a name because the next of kin have not yet been notified. So far, no other details available. And it's a pretty crazy event. I think basically people get really stoned and then burn that man in sort of a paganistic style ritual. And some crazy vehicles come out there. People create some kind of zany cars and different machinery. And I've never been. To me, it's sort of like, I don't know if any of you guys have been to it before, but to me, it's kind of like a hippie festival on steroids and LSD. That's kind of the way it looks to me. It also, of course, attracts a lot of people who are anti-corporate, anti-establishment. And that's why some people are kind of directing criticism at it, because it, as much as it is anti-corporate, anti-establishment, it seems to attract a group of people, especially young people who are from affluent families, who represent sort of the, I guess, the laptop class, who maybe go there because it's a great party and a chance to do a little bit of virtue signaling in a way that allows them to present themselves as sort of edgy and hip. Am I dating myself by saying hip? They're sort of like hippie hipsters. I don't know. I've never been. It's not really my thing, because as most of you know, I don't ingest substances to alter my mental chemistry. And so here's an example of what I'm talking about in terms of criticism leveled at the event and the people who go there now. I don't think it's so anti-establishment as it used to be.
Very tough weekend for about 70,000 Americans who are stuck in a mud apocalypse in the Nevada desert. So what this event is that brought these people out there is it's basically called the Burning Man Festival, and it's pretty much it's as if you had a modern day Wicker Man Festival. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And for those of you who don't know what the Wicker Man was a giant wood man that was built back in, this is like pre-Roman, pre-Greek era. It's said to have been referenced by Julius Caesar, so Roman era. But they would put people in this giant wood wicker statue of a man and then set it afire, sacrifice the people. They generally had loud music around the Wicker Man and drums beating in order to not, hear the screams and agony of the people that they were burning as a sacrifice. It's very strange, if you ask me, that we would have a festival today where we essentially burn a 75-foot man out in a desert, a dried up lake in a desert called the Playa by the people who attend it. But they go out each year. They build this city of entertainment, drugs, alcohol. There's been sex scandals on the stage. There's been people who have made accusations that they've been taken advantage of at this festival. And, it's supposed to be this counterculture, anti-capitalism, anti-corporatism event. But then, ironically, the attendees of the event are the wealthy. I mean, it costs a fortune to go to this event. $1,000 for a basic ticket will get you into the event. And the event itself brings in over $200 million a year. And I realize that, the Burning Man nonprofit does a lot of things with that money throughout the year, but this ritualistic event is very cynical if you think about just the basis of the event. And there's no good way to put a spin on burning a 75-foot man at the end of the event. It's very anti-human in my perspective. But this event has attracted tons of celebrities, Victoria's Secret models, all these influencers that end up out at the event, and their marketing. Somebody flew into the event in a Popeyes jet this year and delivered Popeyes. I mean, if that's not corporatism, I don't know what is. We're having an event for anti-corporatism, and we're just going to market the heck out of everything. I don't understand how any aspect of this event fits the narrative of the nonprofit holding the event. When we talk about the environment, the amount of generators, think about nearly 100,000 people a year gathering in campers and other things for an entire weekend. They're pumping diesel fuel and generators to keep up all the power for the event, to keep up all of the campsites for the event. The actual emissions with all the pyros burning statues and stuff, not just the Wicker Man statue. There's a lot of different things that get burned. But by the time that this event is concluded, they've emitted over 100,000 tons of carbon into the atmosphere. And they're literally this year with this mud apocalypse. I mean, you got to think 3 to 4 inches of mud that has been turned up in a dried out lake, which is actually an important ecosystem. When lakes dry up and reform, they're creating very important ecosystems that are environmentally important to us. And so now you have all this mud that's been churned up for several inches, trash and other junk just dumped down in there. And there's no way, there's not going to be a good way in my mind of being able to make sure you've cleaned all that out without basically turning it and sifting through it afterwards, because stuff is just getting buried. And this mud is actually, it's an alkaline mud. And you see images of people like bathing in this stuff. It's a big party. What they're going to find out is that as alkaline mud actually dries on your skin, it causes burns. So a lot of these people are probably going to be suffering from a lot of different injuries and stuff from being stuck at this event. But they also, have been criticized in recent years. They've barely been able to pass the Bureau of Land Management, BLM's standards for leave no trace, which is a big part of this event. But they've also been criticized for the amount of trash and garbage that ends up on the way to the event, because it's about an 11-hour drive to get into where the event is, where they set up this city of party and drugs and alcohol and all these things. But anyway, the event started raining Friday into Saturday in the event, I believe. And they basically had about an inch of rain drop in this desert environment in that time frame, which created all of this mud. They shut down the gates to the event, trapping the people in there. People could not leave. Some people hiked out 5 or 6 miles to get out of it. That's how unsuitable the conditions are there. This is such a big concern that the White House has been briefed on it. They've probably had more briefings on this event over the weekend than they have on things that really matter, like our border protection. This is a big concern. You have 70,000 U.S. citizens trapped out in the middle of nowhere, and it's an environmental disaster. What these people have done is an environmental disaster at the end of the day. But to me, it's just, this whole thing, and I want your opinion on this, because I'd never really looked into the Burning Man event. It's gotten a lot of publicity over the weekend because you have 70,000 people stranded in this mud apocalypse of mud that's actually going to burn their skin. These people were told to pretty much shelter in place, conserve on food and water. The toilets that are out, can't get trucks in there to clean them out. I mean, it's a disgusting atmosphere. Talk about an outbreak of COVID or something coming. This is going to be the new epicenter. But what I want to know from you guys is, what's going on out there? We've gotten to this point in society where it seems perfectly acceptable to have these types of events going on, and it seems perfectly acceptable to
show visitors.
No, hang on.
statue of man, which is like the ritual in and of itself, is horrid. It's horrific where this ritual actually comes from and what it implies against mankind today. Is this an old Celtic ritual that they are trying to mimic of burning people in the Wicker Man? Or, does the statue represent something else? There seems to be a culture of people today who are very anti-human. Is that the purpose of burning the statue? Now, they say that there's no reason for it, but it is the big event, and that big event is actually supposed to happen tonight. It was going to happen last night, but they had to cancel it because of the conditions, and so they're actually going to burn the 75-foot high man tonight instead. But what do you get out of attending an event like this? Because I'm completely perplexed as to why an event like this is necessary. It has absolutely nothing to do with anti-capitalism, anti-corporatism, because of what's going on at the event. It's become one of the biggest advertising campaigns in recent history. You have an entire runway for jets to come into this thing. What is it that draws people to this? I understand the need, I guess, for a free expression, right? Freedom of expression, freedom whatever. I mean, I don't think we should shut them down. I mean, I think everybody has freedom. I guess my question comes down to more values. Like, where are the values of society going? Everything about this event is hypocritical in and of itself, of what it's there for. Like, I think that, hippies are good people. It's good to have free expression, and this event is like a rock and roll drug fest. What are your thoughts on the Burning Man? I feel like it has gotten way out of control. The values of society are the concerning part to me.
Agreed. What do we think? What do you think? What do I think? I think the whole thing is kind of ridiculous. I was aware of the Burning Man Festival many, many years ago. I had friends who went. Not interested myself. There was always something about it that just I found distasteful, and it felt wrong. When they told me about it, when I learned about it, I wanted nothing to do with it. Not up my alley. Wasn't interested in going out into the desert in a dried up lake bed, altering my mind chemistry and rolling around in the mud while they burned a giant man in what really amounts to a paganistic festival. It felt anti-Christian. It felt anti-human. Right from the beginning, to me, it just gave me the heebie-jeebies, and I just didn't want to go. And this year, controversy. So I just bring it here to you tonight. You can make up your own mind. What do you guys think? I'll look in the chat here for a moment. The Wicker Man, scapegoat, yeah. And Fat Laba says, I've been to festivals. It's just an excuse to take drugs. Yep. Yeah. It says it's just a famous psyop. And yeah, Dodgy says pagan. And Art says it's a steampunk fest. Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah. The style is certainly steampunk. And a lot of the vehicles that they make are definitely steampunk in style. I have to admit, some of the sort of cars and things that they've created to take to that event over the years, some of them have been pretty cool, pretty creative stuff. Jody says, laugh out loud, Rick. I couldn't listen to the show for months because I was going through such a hard depression. I could write a book about, but I'm here today to watch you now because I'm stronger now and so sick of this country's shit. Yeah, thank you, Jody. I'm glad you're back. I understand. I share your pain and your suffering. It's widespread these days, but fear not, for there is such insanity that tonight we will find levity in that as I bring forth some humor for you soon, very soon. So do not go away. More to come right after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people should not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Before we get to the crazy funny stuff, we'll just deal with a few of the more serious stories tonight. Ontario Premier Doug Ford in Canada is asking the Bank of Canada to stop raising interest rates. He's not the only premier doing it. He has written now a letter directly to the central bank's governor, Tiff Macklem, because of what he says is a devastating impact that the current rate hikes have had on Ontario families and businesses. He's the second premier to do this. British Columbia Premier David Eby sent a letter that was very similar to Macklem last Thursday. The Bank of Canada did raise its key interest rate to 5% last month, citing projections that suggest it will take longer for the national inflation rate to reach the bank's target of 2%. Right now, inflation in Canada is sitting at, I believe, 3.3%. So Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, is urging Macklem to consider the effect higher interest rates are having on everyday people. Further illustrating the irony in things, I guess, over time, the conservatives, Doug Ford is supposed to be a conservative, they always used to be considered the party of the rich, the Bay Street, Wall Street crowd. But now conservatives seem to be the party of the working class. So in his letter, he says that the bank has raised interest rates 10 times in the last 18 months. And Doug Ford says it's costing families thousands of dollars more a month to cover their mortgage payments. So you know things are getting bad when premiers start stepping in to comment on and try to influence directly federal monetary policy, which is really the domain of the federal government, and in this case, Justin Trudeau and the governor of the Bank of Canada. So there's probably more to all of that than meets the eye, things going on behind the scenes we're not entirely aware of, but it's pretty evident that we have some serious concerns about inflation, cost of living, and the government's response to it, which is to raise interest rates and really combat inflation through degrowth, higher unemployment, putting people out of work by trying to slow the economy down through monetary policies that make money more expensive to borrow, money more expensive, period. And by diminishing the value of money through inflation. Combating those forces because they printed too much money to give too much free money away. And now they have to make it too expensive to borrow money. So the only way to make sure that they can cover the increased cost of giving away all the free money is to make money more expensive and to take your job away. That's the way, I don't like it. So look for more turmoil on the economic front in the weeks and months ahead. This is far from over, folks. And a lot of this economic turmoil is directly related to what's going on with the struggle between the United States, NATO, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, India, the BRICS nations versus the West, the pressure that the world default currency, the US dollar, is now under because of the establishment of a new currency that's coming from the BRICS nations. And as that happens, we will see even higher inflation. And that is a fact. Yet to be realized, but it's coming. And then as a result of all of that, we have ongoing turmoil and we have conflict between Ukraine and Russia, and North Korean leader now, Kim Jong-un, is going to meet with Vladimir Putin later this month. That is really where I was going with all of this. So Kim Jong-un plans to travel to Russia, where he will meet with Vladimir Putin, and they will discuss the possibility of supplying weapons for the war in Ukraine. This is a report out of the New York Times from today. They cite U.S. and allied sources as confirmation. So what they're saying is Kim would go from Pyongyang, probably by armored train, to Vladivostok on the Pacific coast of Russia. And when there, he would meet with Putin. So this planned trip would come as Russia prepares to hold joint military exercises with North Korea. And after Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu had tried on a visit to North Korea to convince Pyongyang to sell artillery ammunition to Russia. Now, we also know that the United States has warned North Korea they have warned that North Korea could supply more weapons to Russia. And that's a big concern for other NATO countries. And this signals further escalation. And it shows also that there is this new alliance forming between these BRICS nations and adversaries to NATO and the United States in particular, which should also give rise to increased concern about the economic stability of the West. We'll see where it goes, but this war in Ukraine has really pushed Russia into the wide open waiting arms of China, North Korea, India, South Africa, and other countries are trying to join in that union of various countries on the opposite side of the West and take advantage of new loan agreements and development agreements, and to avail themselves of loans and credit in order to develop their emerging nations and economies. Rachel Maddow this week kind of went a little over the top. You want to talk about fear mongering? This is fear mongering in sort of a direct yet still subtle way, because this kind of rhetoric from people like Rachel Maddow over the years, especially since the emergence of Donald Trump when he came down that escalator and to first run for president, this kind of rhetoric has been normalized to the point where when you listen to it, it doesn't even sound that extreme. Even coming from especially coming from someone like Rachel Maddow. But she is trying to scare people into the idea that if Trump is reelected, he'll be elected for life. Now, I'll play the clip for you, but honestly, I have to say, the whole thing seems, well, it's over the top, it's exaggerated, it's meant to be. And I would say that this clip from Rachel Maddow is aimed at the low information, low IQ, lower end audience on her network. Let's take a look. You'll see what I mean.
It means one of two things if this is the way he's going to approach it. Either he loses the election and he goes to prison, or he wins the election, he doesn't go to prison, and is that for life that he gets to be president? Will we keep having more elections or no? If every election is a new opportunity for him to go to prison, do you think he allows us to have new elections? I mean, if those are the stakes, if winning the election is his plan to stay out of prison, what happens in that election if and when he does not win it? Does that kind of an election end with a graceful concession to a fair and square re-elected President Biden? I mean, if Trump and his supporters see the stakes as losing and going to prison or winning and being president, and probably president for life, how should we expect that he and the Republican Party and Republican officials in swing states are going to handle the conduct of that election that Trump may very well lose? And because we are prone to forget, we have to say out loud, I mean, that we would be remiss, we would be willfully naive to ask that question as if our politics exists in a vacuum, somewhere outside the rest of our news. As if the politics pages are totally different than the crime pages, right? As if we are not in a moment where far-right politics is coincident with far-right violence, with regular shows of force from paramilitary extreme right groups, and with acts of violence by people who are explicitly and admittedly motivated by far-right eliminationist political ideas. We are prone to forget, but we do not have to.
See, that's the kind of talk that gets one side all excited. It gets them all jacked up. It gets them scared, and they believe it. Because she sits on that desk on a fancy TV style studio set and says these things. and they get upset. And it fuels the fear, which fuels the anger, which fuels a reaction. And there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest or support her assertion that Donald Trump, if elected, would in some way become president for life. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's some QAnon stuff like that. Is there? I don't know. But if there is, it's not true. And it bakes my brain. Who needs to go to Burning Man and get stoned when you can just watch Rachel Maddow? It just bends my brain. And then it bakes it. And that whole thing, it's designed to do exactly what I just said. It's designed, she is purposely trying to get people upset and get them afraid before they head into the next election. That's just the beginning. I said last night, you think that all those mostly peaceful protests that we saw in the past and all the political turmoil and the Antifa celebrations on the street and the chop and the chaz and the crap in Seattle and all of that stuff and all of these, you think that was bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. You wait till next year when we really get into the thick of the election. Oh, baby, you want to see burn? It's going to burn. It's going to churn and burn. And that's just part of the setup. What you're seeing there, both sides are going to be ready to burn because the mania is reaching a fever pitch. No evidence to support what she said at all. She's just saying it to be inflammatory because she is a completely irresponsible broadcaster and someone has her doing that and she's taken the paycheck to do it. She did it during the pandemic too. Whatever the narrative was that she was told to spout, she repeated it over and over and over again. Remember what she said? You know, I could go back and find the clips about how, how great the vaccines are. And if you take it, you just won't get COVID, she said. Well, she'll repeat anything. And she's doing that. Her and Chris Cuomo, I mean, that guy, he was terrible during the pandemic. And now he doesn't have a gig over there anymore. And I've watched a little bit of his stuff just to see what he's doing. His tune has kind of changed. He was doing a thing about UFOs where he really didn't say anything about UFOs at all. He's just trying to get clicks to help build his channel and justify his existence on that other network. What is it? News Nation or whatever he's on, that other smaller news outfit that has sort of a startup thing, I think. I'm not really that familiar with them. Anyway, I think he's supposed to be sort of one of their main celebrity types, but when I watched his UFO video, which really said nothing new about anything at all and really said nothing, period, it was pretty clear to me he's a little bit desperate for ratings. Her too, I guess. But what she's doing there is actually kind of disgusting. I hate that crap. Hate that crap. Scaring the crap out of people to get them upset so they'll go into the streets and protest and do whatever and even motivate them to go vote, voting's a good thing. But you don't want to go around scaring people. If Trump gets elected, he'll be president for life because he doesn't respect the Constitution. It's not true. If he wins, he gets 4 more years, and then that's it. That's it. Simple as that. So she can say whatever she wants, but that's a lie. Basically is what it comes down to. She's just lying. and exaggerating and trying to scare the crap out of you. That's what she's doing. Are you guys able to see us on Rumble? Because there is something really weird going on with the Rumble channel here. I cannot see the videos on our own Rumble channel. There is something really whacked going on. I don't know if it's some weird form of censorship or a technical thing, if it's a result of like some new government legislation that's like, this is the anti-Rick Walker Maverick news legislation. From this point on, you will not be permitted to transmit video directly to Rick Walker so that he can't see his own videos. But I can't, like, I'm going to show you what's going on here to show you how weird all this stuff has become. This censorship is out of control. This technical crap, I don't know what is going on, but this is what I see. Let me see if I can get it up. Okay, that's just a thumbnail, which I don't even know why it showed up. So there's the thumbnail for tonight's show. And I cannot get it to play video. Maybe I can here. There's something going on with this whole Rumble thing. So I hope you guys can see the show. Yeah. Maria Christiana says it's fine. PSD S10 says, yeah, loud and clear. I can't make it play. It's the strangest thing. It was like this yesterday too. Don't know. It's bizarre. I don't know. Somebody's sending me what could be breaking news. Let me check in and check this message coming in from one of our key Maverick family members. Yeah, it's just letting me know that people can see it. Okay, as long as you guys can see it, that's fine. I don't care if I can see myself, which I can't. It's just a little concerning. Anyway. All right. Oh, yes, Joe Biden. Let me get this queued up for you. He had Labor Day remarks today. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. Hang on a second here. He can't get through his speech without saying something ridiculous. So he kind of fumbled over this one. Let me cue it up for you. Here we go. Okay, so all right, so he's talking about labor unions.
Herbert Hoover. Isn't that kind of coincidental? Look, but we're turning things around because of you. When the last guy was here, you were shipping jobs to China. Now we're bringing jobs home from China. When the last guy was here, your pensions were at risk. We helped save millions of pensions with your help.
It's coming.
When the last guy was here, he looked at the world from Park Avenue. I look at it from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I look at it from Claymont, Delaware.
And the home of Corn Pop.
Not a joke. Folks, all my time in public office, I've been referred to as middle-class Joe. I guess they thought that was somehow not very complimentary. Well, guess what? That's who I am. That doesn't mean you're not sophisticated because you're middle class. It means you work like hell, and you know what your family has to work like hell to be able to make it. Well, I'm awful sophisticated about one thing. I know who built this country. I've been saying this since I ran the first time. Let me say it loud and clear. Wall Street didn't build America. The middle class built America, and unions built the middle class. That's a fact. That's not hyperbole. That's a fact. Unions built the middle class. When I look at this crowd, I see folks in my neighborhood. I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. The people of physical courage and brains. People who busted their necks their whole lives to care for their families.
They're a bunch of neck breakers. if you're middle class in Joe Biden's America, well, you probably broke your neck over and over again. I went, hey, honey, I'm home. I broke my neck again. I'm paralyzed now, and I have to go to work, but it's okay because I'm middle class. Oh. A bunch of neck breakers. If you're middle class, you're probably a neck breaker. Neck breakers. He's just, oh my God. He can't get through a speech without some sort of a faux pas. A complete screw up. Like, I think he meant like bust your butt or bust your ass. I don't know. But he broke your neck. Am I wrong to laugh at that? You're all out there breaking your necks. What do you guys think? I don't know. Look in the chat. Now, 50% of the middle class is paralyzed from the neck down because they're all out there breaking their necks building the country. Oh my God. It's just so stupid. It's just stupid. I'm like, he's just, you know what? It's like he was never the brightest dude to begin with. And he's kind of got a mean streak in him, right? Like you go back and look at his clips over the years. He's just a mean son of a bitch. He really is one mean SOB, that guy. He berated people. He belittled people. He bullies people. He came out with so many racist comments over the years. I can't count. Almost puts Justin Trudeau to shame. Can't say that he ever wore blackface, but his tongue is coal black. I'll tell you that. This dude, now he's the champion of the black people, right? Okay. And the middle class, because they break their necks. It's like everybody's doing the Jenna Ortega Wednesday thing. Like, you do the dance thing and then break your neck. Oh, I'm middle class. Oh my God. This guy, he's got to go. He's just got to go. Why do people tolerate it? Why did they vote for this? Did they vote for that? Somebody did, I guess. But I got to listen to it again because y'all break your necks. I have so much respect for the middle class. They're all a bunch of neck breakers. Yay!
That's a fact.
That's a fact. That's not hyperbole.
That's not hyperbole. That's a fact. Unions built the middle class.
Yeah.
Well, look at this crowd. I
Not
see folks in
hyperbole.
my neighborhood. I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. The people of physical courage and brains. People who busted their necks their whole lives to care for their families. People who get up every day and work like the devil to pay their taxes and volunteer in their communities. You're too modest. You don't talk enough about what you have to do. But I tell you, leaders all the time, American union workers are the best. And this is what I know every major head of state in the world, not a joke, is because I've been around and they look to America for foreign policy issues. And guess what? I make the point. America has the best workers in the world. That's a fact.
Not anymore. I can't do anything, Bill. I broke my neck. I broke my neck, Joe, and I can't talk anymore because I broke my neck, and I can't move. Me and my buddies, we all broke our necks, Joe, down at the on the shipping docks. We broke our necks. Oh God, you're all a bunch of neck breakers. I think it's funny. I think he's hilarious. Hilariously stupid. God. Really? Like, really? Really? Yeah? You're testing us? Okay. Have we passed yet? I'm trying to be tolerant. My God. You're all a bunch of neck breakers. Jesus Christ, crying out loud. I'll be back in a minute.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I was so trying to not talk about this stuff in Maui. But I have to. I'm sorry, I have to. I told you I'm in a bit of a mood tonight, and it's because of all the Biden stuff and the stupidity there, and the people are messaging me, and some people are buying into some of these videos that are coming out of Maui, and some people are upset about what they're seeing coming out of Maui, and it is because some of the videos are just filled with complete crap, because it's people looking for clicks and to do other things too. And there is a giant psyop on, and there is a battle on for your mind, a war on for your minds. And that's partly what this is. And it's funny. It's actually pretty funny. I mean, it's sad and scary, but it's also funny as hell when I watch this stuff, because it's also so freaking stupid. Okay? It is just off the charts dumb. It's just dumb. Where should I begin? Let's start with this Hawaii real estate dude. He's getting like a crap load of views. All right. And this is just like, he's getting a crap load of views on his YouTube channel. So he's making bank. This guy. He really is. Let me find the clip here for you. Also, did you see this thing? There's a powerful argument that Trump is disqualified for presidency under the 14th Amendment. This is from Tim Kaine. Senator from Virginia. He was like hooked in with Hillary Clinton, remember, as her running mate crap. So he said today that, or yesterday actually, that he believes there's a strong legal argument that can be made to use the 14th Amendment to remove President Trump from the ballot for the 2024 election. All of that, in his mind, relating to Trump's actions surrounding the January 6th incident. Anyway, he says, in my view, the attack on the Capitol that day was designed for a particular purpose at a particular moment, and that was to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power as is laid out in the Constitution. He said this on This Week with George Stephanopoulos on ABC. So I think there's a powerful argument to be made, he said. The language is specific, according to Kane. He argued, referring to a section of the amendment that states that someone isn't eligible for office if, while they were previously in office, they took an oath to support the Constitution, but then, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or gave aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, unless they are granted amnesty by a 2/3 vote of Congress. We've talked about this before. Kane bringing it up again this weekend. Good luck. They're not going to get rid of Trump. They want him to run. He's going to get the nomination, in my view. He brings them way too many ratings. They make way too much money off him. And even though they beat the crap out of him in the media, I think they're very happy to have him back so they can love to hate him, so they can, keep on loving to hate him, so that you can hopefully love to hate him too, because it's a love-hate relationship. But they really need someone they can heap a lot of hate on, and that's what they're doing. And that's why they're going to live stream his trial, because it's made for TV. It's reality TV. That's what it is, man. It's entertainment as much as anything else. And Trump will run. Even if he's in the slammer, he'll run. You'll see. They can't get away from it. Anyway, back to this other thing. Okay, so this is the Hawaii Real Estate Channel. All right, this guy has made a fortune, and he's so full of crap. In my view, this is my opinion. You want to believe him? Be my guest. This is a guy who is getting, a few hundred views per video with his little real estate channel out of Hawaii. Then they have the big Maui fire. And then suddenly his channel explodes because, of course, people want information and news out of Lahaina and off the island. And he's got this channel and people are suddenly tuning in. And he's getting tons of clicks. This particular video picked up over 1 million views. But excuse me. And what he's been doing is doing exactly what I've been telling you. He's become part of the big psyop, and he's scaring the crap out of people. So here he is proving, that there's something nefarious going on with the fire, and he's gonna take you and show you the evidence, which is complete just bunk. But so let's just watch a little bit of this. It's just stupid. And if you really, really watch their mannerisms, him and his buddies, and the way that they speak, just pick up on it. You can tell that they're like chuckling. They're laughing at us. While he's doing this thing, he's laughing at people who are buying into what he's saying.
Oh, look at. We're going to show you some more things as we're walking along here.
Yeah, sure you are.
How did that not disappear?
I don't know.
If this melted, how did that cone not
There
completely disappear?
Yeah, directed
if you look at this
energy
vehicle,
laser.
and I want you to notice the burn,
for sure.
The amount of grass, as you can see, that burned in the char marks. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel.
Well, then there you go.
You can see a small little
gravel on the road.
Small little flames right here when this grass burned. Yet when you turn and look right in this direction,
where there's gravel,
besides seeing Dylan, my technical cameraman, you can see this car. And for all you scientists out there that have been sending me images and you're asking me if they're real, I'm here to tell you, in Jesus' name, what we're showing you is real, live on YouTube. So if you enjoy content like this, we ask you to please immediately like this, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you are our only hope of getting this out to the world through the YouTube algorithm. This is a tire.
His only hope.
Gone. These are the braids of steel inside the tire. Look at this particular rim.
It's okay. So you know what? You're looking at this and it's like a burned out car and you've got all this negative stuff in your. I've seen a lot of burned out cars. This is kind of what they look like. I don't see anything actually unusual about this at all. Oh, look at the steel braids from the tires that burned. Yeah, it's called steel belted radial tires. And when the rubber burns, and it burns tires burn like crazy, they leave behind the steel because it doesn't get hot enough to burn the steel braids inside the tires. There's nothing weird about that. Anyway, let us continue, shall we?
Safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel, you can see it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield. That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle. We have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah.
dust.
How is that possible for a grass fire?
I will tell you in a moment.
That did not come from this direction, because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here. What could cause that type of destruction when you have a grass fire on this side that obviously didn't connect? But even if it was a grass fire,
and it's still only half burned. I mean,
yeah, you can see there's even some grass over here that's still standing.
Well, it's all proof.
That's
it.
So even down below, directly below this, you can see some wood fence posts that were burned.
He's making statements. He doesn't have any real evidence of anything. He's conflating. He's connecting without real evidence. He doesn't really know anything. The SUV thing is sitting on gravel. Okay? It's just, well, if it's on the gravel and it burned over there, then that must be proof of what? That it caught fire.
Burned, but you can see all that grass is still good. So how do you get this car this hot? In the comments section, I need to hear from you guys. Honestly.
Well, we don't know how it caught fire, but it clearly did. And once a car catches fire, do you know what burns? All kinds of combustible materials, you idiot. The seats, very combustible. There's like a whole tank of gasoline, which will ignite and blow up and engulf the entire vehicle in flames. It gets very, very, very hot. And if it were to be an electric vehicle, the battery would catch fire, and those things burn even hotter. So when a car catches fire, the gasoline ignites at some point, and it gets really, really hot. And that's why they look like that. And everything inside, everything all through the whole vehicle burns hot. It's called gasoline.
Honestly, I need you here in the comments section. There's some smart people, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about some intelligent people out there that understand physics, science, melting points, not the nonsense people. We need to just silence the nonsense for a moment. We need some real scientists, some real
I don't think
professors
you're really looking for real
around the
answers.
world to check in right now and help us understand what phenomenon, right?
Yeah, it's an anomaly or whatever you want to call that word.
No,
right,
not really.
but this is just one vehicle. This is what we're seeing in all.
Oh, there's the window down there in the middle.
Where's the window?
Down in the
Oh, you
crack.
can see the melted window down in the crack.
It just dripped down in there.
It's just dripped into the. You can see that. I don't know if the camera's picking that up for you.
Yeah, it's so blurry. I can't really
But I've
tell
had
what's
people
going
reach
on.
out to me from around the world asking for these types of.
The heat alone would make it shatter potentially because, heat expands things and windows will burst and crack and break, and they might have been smashed by a firefighter or who knows what, but that thing is like completely gutted. So it was completely engulfed in flames. Not unusual. And when you get a completely burned out vehicle, they kind of look like that. I've seen many. I've covered hundreds of car fires, and you can go to the junkyard at any time in your hometown, and you can go back in there and you'll find cars that do catch fire from time to time because of fuel leaks that ignite. And when it happens, they kind of look just like that. All the door panels and everything burn out in the inside because they're made of cardboard and vinyl. And the seats are made of vinyl, which is a petroleum product, and that burns. The carpeting burns. The dashboards are made of plastic and they burn. That's also made from petroleum products. Gets to a certain temperature, and man, when that stuff ignites, it burns like crazy and it adds fuel to the fire. All the plastics in there, that turns into kind of a liquid fuel. All of that stuff. And those seats, those are made of aluminum and steel. And that's real aluminum. And as you can see, that did not get liquefied. And that's not even the right terminology. The aluminum might melt if it gets hot enough. The seat didn't melt. So why did those wheels melt? Let's watch a little
Images,
more of it.
detailed images. And by the way, thankful that the sheriffs have left. We asked them if I've said, hey, if you guys love your country, allow us to come in here and grab these images. And they've left. And I'm so thankful. And I told the sheriff, said, hey, I'm thankful for you guys because you've sworn to protect the Constitution. You've got more power than anybody in the.
Yeah, thank God they left the area.
Thank God they left the area. Yeah, and we're so thankful that they did. They had these stern looks on their faces, man, because we're just like, what law prevents us from having access? Why can the media not have access to this?
Oh, yeah. The big conspiracy about, the cops and, the cops are against them. But they're clearly not because they just left them alone.
Why is there a fence? Why are there checkpoints? This is melted copper.
Yeah,
these are the jumping
so
cables.
what people are familiar with seeing, this is how hot it got. This literally destroyed metal, and I mean the spring had no integrity at all. It was just no.
Yeah, it gets hot, dude. When a car catches fire like that, it gets really hot.
No resistance.
Really
You
hot.
can see this. What do you think this is? Is this the tranny?
No.
Wow.
What is that?
The aluminum?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they maybe it had an aluminum gas tank?
But look at all this. Came all the way out
of the
here.
Exhaust.
Yeah, that's not just heating and melting. That's liquefying, which is
that's the
liquefying. That's a
yeah,
whole other level.
probably like 1,500 to 2,000 degrees. Look,
So-
that looks like a cell phone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, well, there's your proof. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think? Talk to me. Share the video. Call Joe Rogan. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody call somebody with way more social media clout than I have.
Yeah.
And we're not. The Rock. Where's the Rock at? Where's the PGA at? Where's the people at? Where are the people that love this country? They're going to help us solve this mystery and are going to allow us to have access to what they're doing over there. There's still a TFR, temporary flight restriction, still in place to this day. We cannot fly a drone over that. We've been in touch with the FAA since the first day. We have provided a statement of work on company letterhead saying that we want to get a drone in the sky. Why? Because we want to start watching these hillsides at night for fire. Yes, we might see what they're doing in that town, but we also want to monitor this because we had a fire start up yesterday in Ka'anapali. Whatever it is that caused this, which we don't know, is still trying to cause havoc on this island as we speak.
Yeah.
So this threat's not over. The story's not finished. And it's because God Almighty has allowed us to have this type of access to this piece of evidence right now on the side of this highway that's public. And the sheriffs were nice enough to leave us alone. They said we couldn't park here. But why is it that the media is not given access? Is there third-party independent oversight to what's going on? Why is the deputy sheriff, the chief of police still the coroner? There's so many unanswered questions. But I hope that this brings some insight into what limited things we are able to see right now.
Right here. There we go.
And quite frankly, this does not make sense. Even if I didn't understand anything about temperature or fires, any logical person can look at this and go, hey,
oh my Lord, look at the motor.
How did this grass fire cause this car to completely melt? Look at this look at this motor.
That's plastic and crap.
The manifold.
Where's the manifold?
Right here.
I know, where is it?
Yeah.
It's dust.
Yeah. Because it got hot.
Pop in there. Completely intact.
What?
Completely intact.
Well, maybe someone came here and had a
Maybe they'd have
taking
to throw
pictures
that.
or something.
I don't know.
You
It
know.
looks like it endured a fire. I don't know.
That is weird. So this is just pulver. It's literally.
That's the battery.
Oh gosh.
That's lead.
That is lead. That is lead. Oh boy. I'm gonna get
Okay. These jokers. Melting point for aluminum is about 1,200 degrees. But when a car catches fire, the wheels can and often do melt because they're not aluminum. Idiot. They're aluminum alloy. They're made to be very light, and they're not pure aluminum. They mix other metals in with them. And so they have a much lower melting point. So when a car catches fire and it gets hot, the wheels can and do melt. Especially when the tires catch fire, because they're made of rubber, which is made from petroleum, which when it catches fire, have you ever seen a tire burn? Do you know how hot they get? You ever see the smoke that comes off them? I mean, it is like Carbon City, baby. You ever watch a car do a burnout? That's why they make so much smoke when a car does a burnout. And when they actually catch fire, oh man, you got smoke all over the place and they get super hot. And yep, those wheels will melt. The manifold also aluminum alloy. So when the engine catches fire, because there's gas lines that go into that, it gets really, really hot. Yeah, and it gets really brittle. And the same with the rails on the top, aluminum alloy. So when it gets hot, it will turn to dust. And so these guys know that what they're doing is scaring the shit out of people on purpose in order to get clicks. And that video got over 1 million views. That's not a conspiracy. That's not a theory. That is a fact, Jack. And that's not hyperbole, as Joe Biden would say. They've proven nothing except that they are clickbait artists. And they're exploiting the fear, the uncertainty, and the questions that so many people have surrounding that tragedy in Lahaina. And honestly, I think they should be ashamed of themselves because it is a tragedy. And a lot of people have died. And what people there need, and what we need, what the country needs, what the world needs, is actual real facts, not clickbait artists who are making bank on a monetized YouTube channel that is full of shit. It's distasteful. It disgusts me. I hate it. I'm tired of it. And people keep sending me this stuff because they think it's real, that they think that guy is on to something. He's not on to anything. He got together with his buddies and said, hey, there's a burned out car just down there. Let's go make a video of that one. And he got 1 million views. Do you know what the, I don't know what the revenue is on that, but he's monetized, unlike us. Because, honestly, we're too damn honest. We tell too much truth here, and YouTube can't handle the truth. They'd rather have the lies. They'd rather get you jacked up. They'd rather have that guy and people like him produce absolute fiction based on reality in order to take you down some crazy rabbit hole and tell you things that just simply aren't true. Because, we're all just a bunch of middle-class neckbreakers. We're all stupid anyway. What do you know? And then if you don't buy into the narrative, then you're told, now there's social pressure on us all. Well, if you don't you don't believe that, you're an idiot. No, if you believe that guy, well, you might just be an idiot. But hey, have at it. Just, on the one hand, it disgusts me. On the other hand, I'm laughing my ass off because the world has become so flippin' stupid. I didn't want to comment on it. That guy's been making videos for the last few weeks. And he's gone from being a little tiny YouTube channel to a giant one because of that crap. He's not the only one. And I wouldn't be commenting on this at all because I've kind of had my fill of it all. But people keep messaging me and they're bringing it to my attention. And some people want me to talk about it on one side, and the people on the other side want me to talk about it over here because they know it's crap. And so I'm talking about it. Here I go. Here I am. Sorry. Now you can believe what you want to believe, but whatever caused those fire, that thing did catch fire. And I'm just telling you that that's what happens to wheels and aluminum alloy rails. That's why. It's not like some mysterious Klingon death ray from above was so hot that it was able to, liquefy. It just didn't melt it, it liquefied it. No. Not only that, there are other people telling tall tales without any video at all or any evidence whatsoever of any kind, period, to support their stories. But people really believe the shit that I'm about to show you here. Sorry for the language. I just can't take it anymore. It's driving me insane. How about this dude? I mean, you're not going to hear about this in the mainstream media because they're not going to touch it. They're not going to talk about it. I guess somebody has to because people are asking me to comment on it. So here we go. Here's this winner. Who's this guy? I don't know. His name's somebody or other. I don't know. 33,000 shares on this piece of crap.
Breaking news. 36 ex-military elite special force members showed up in Maui to help the people and arrested some of the local police for treason to the country. Wait, is this real? Yes. No, you didn't hear about it in the news, nor will you ever.
Because it didn't happen.
Do you think it was wildfires? Definitely not. If you do, you're an idiot.
There's the social pressure. Yeah, you know what, dude? I'm not an idiot.
There's been enough proof. You've seen enough. It sucks that I only have 3 minutes because I can't even tell this whole freaking what I've learned in 3 minutes, but I'm going to try to make it short. Somebody that we all know who's on TV almost every night in America. He's not Trump, but he's almost as famous, and he used to own a professional sports team. They're in Maui. They've been for over a week. His right-hand man is great friends, been for years with my store manager of my business, who's been with me for 15. And he's an ex-police officer also, and his father is an ex-Army Ranger. So anyway, they've been there for a week trying to hand out water. The police have been trying to stop them, but they got 20 security guards with them, and they've been bowling their way on and giving the water out. 2 days ago, he calls my manager and says, "You're not going to believe this shit. Craziest thing I've ever seen. We're here trying to help out the people, and we see 6 of those military type rafts you see, like, on TV with the 50 cals in the front. 6 of them come flying up to the docks, and they get out, and it's these monster dudes, special forces." He said, and they pretty much just take over the whole dock. They take over the acting police officers are there, make them their guns drawn, rifles drawn, like, put your guns down. Really? Make these officers put their guns down and take it over and tell all them cops that, they're arrested for treason to the country. These guys aren't acting on U.S. military. These are ex-military guys. He said he started talking to some of the guys. They're ex-Navy SEALs. They're Rangers. They got patches on.
Oh, they got patches.
SEALs, Rangers, ex-Marines, stuff like that. He said he started talking to all of them to find out who they are, what they're there. Like, we're U.S. citizens. We come here to help. These guys, this is treason to the country. We're here to help the local people. So the locals start telling them how they have all their food captive. Yeah, there's 2-3 containers a quarter mile up the road. They won't let us even get any of it. So they grab 6 guys. They go over there, 3 more officers, take them in control, get to the containers, and start giving out food and water. You don't hear about this on the news. Of course you're not going to hear about this on the news. This guy is there on the ground. He's calling us. He's like, you wouldn't believe what just happened a couple hours ago. He said, it is crazy. It's the craziest scene I've ever seen. I've been in war scenes. I've been, at war times. He said, but this island looks worse than anything I've ever seen. He said, the people are going mad. The people are about to cause and start a revolution. They are pissed. They are furious. He said, they don't know. No one's talking to them. No one's on the media. No one's letting this word get out. So just know this is a true story.
It's a true story. He said, and he said the revolution's on and everything. The revolution's on. The revolution's on. Oh my God. It's the revolution. Okay, so here's what happened. Okay, so I just got to figure this. What did he say? Okay, so there's this dock someplace there, right? And then these guys, they're like, the cops are there and they're being real mean. The cops are being mean to everybody. They're really meanies. And there's really nice people that this dude here knows. And they're giving out water. They just wanted to hand out the water. If only they could hand out water and save the babies and everything by handing out the water. But the cops, they're real mean. They don't like the people. The cops are bad cops, really bad ones. And so they're like, you're not handing out that water. You're not handing it out. You guys stop handing out that water. We want everybody dehydrated around here, okay? I'm just following orders. Everybody's got to be dehydrated. It's right here. They wrote it down on a piece of paper. And this is no hydration allowed. And so then, out of like nowhere, Arnold Schwarzenegger came. Okay? Arnold Schwarzenegger came with Sly and the Family Stone. And they had their army helmets on and stuff. And they said, hey, you bad cops. We're here for Operation Tato Smasher. Okay? And they pulled up in their super ex-Marine dinghies, right? And they got their Tato Smashers and they said, hey, you coppers, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is Sly and the Family Stone behind me. And we want some water. Give it to the babies first. Or we're going to smash you with our Tato Smashers. This is Operation Tato Smasher, dude. They were real pissed. So they had Sly and the Family Stone, and they had Arnold Schwarzenegger there with the dinghies. And I don't know where the mothership was that the dinghies came from, but it's got to be out there somewhere. And they said, screw you, coppers. Next people's going to hand out the waters. And so they got out their Tato Smashers and they said, stick them up. Stick them up, coppers. Put down your guns. It's all over. We're ex-Marines. And Marines trump coppers. Because we're bigger and tougher than you. Because we're the big burly guys that you described. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, don't you know who I am? And so the coppers, they all got arrested. They just arrested them all. And they took them to Lieutenant Steve Rogers. And they said, Lieutenant Steve Rogers, take them to Gitmo. That's it. And they saved the babies. And they handed out the water. And everybody got to have their hydration for the day. And Operation Tato Smasher was a success, but it's all a secret. Operation Neckbreaker over here. Operation Tato Smasher over there. Oh my God. You really believe that? Oh, by the way, the reason that all that's happening is because Donald Trump is actually still the commander-in-chief. So that guy would probably have you believe. I don't know. He didn't say that. I don't know. Put words in his mouth, but that's going to be. It's not true. It's just not true. Operation Tato Smasher. Guys, hello. Just come on back over here. Okay. Really. I don't know if that's news, but in a bizarre, twisted, screwed up freaking way today on this, what is the date today? September the 4th already, 2023. That's reality. That's stupidity and zaniness. That's the reality of the internet today. It's not reality. It's all a fabrication. This guy's making all this crap up. Why would he do that? Why would he make this shit up? Why would he spin such a crazy, crazy tale? You know, this story is just part of an ongoing tall tale out of Maui about Marines, ex-Marines going in there that I've been listening to. Apparently, one of the Marines got shot and killed. And it's just like something out of a movie. Of course it does, because when they spin the tale, it's all a cliche. It's designed to be a cliche so that it can implant an image in your mind as part of a psyop that you'll buy into, because they're instantly tapping into some sort of a visual recognition trigger that allows you to visualize what he's talking about. So he creates this scene, recreates a scene out of a movie with the dinghies. But ask yourself this, even, I see comments. Let's take a look at the comments, shall we? And this scares the living crap out of me, honestly. If I can see comments here at this point, let's go one further back. Yeah, here we go. Oh my God. Nikki says, best news I've heard all day. Deborah says, hallelujah. Thank Heavenly Father for some justice for this. Marcus says, time to start this type of activity on the mainland as well. Good Americans protecting our citizens. There's a lot of this work to do. God bless these men, their families and friends, and the United States of America. Godspeed. Kakoa says, we're ready to join the fight. Let's go. Yeah, dude, that's exactly what they want. But there's no Marines coming to help you. Yeah. Nobody's coming to help you because there are no ex-Marines doing this. It's not happening. It's a lie. I'm ready to go. Join the revolution. And guys, ask yourself this, is that really what you want anyway? Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Would that be something that would be a good thing? On whose authority would these ex-Marines be acting? What jurisdiction do they have? What gives them the authority to come in there and take over anything, let alone a dock, where there's a bunch of cops? Who do the cops represent? The cops represent, honestly, the community. Okay. On whatever level you want, that's what they're there for. And yeah, they're just following order, whatever. They're the cops. They are empowered to enforce the law. That's their job. If any of this was even true, I don't care what the circumstances are. The cops, they have the authority because they have the backing of the community, because they have the backing of the government, which is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Maybe some of the people don't agree with what the government's doing, but it's still the government, whether you like it or not, man. And if you're an ex-Marine, that means you're not a Marine anymore, which means you have no authority to do jack shit. So if you pull up there in a dinghy that you got at Walmart and you pull out your Tato Smasher for Operation Tato Smasher and you threaten a cop, you're breaking the goddamn law. That is the very definition of frickin' treason and insurrection. If you're trying to stage some sort of a military coup by a bunch of ex-military people who aren't in the military anymore. That is not a good thing. Because if they take over the country, what are you left with? You're left there with a bunch of big, burly, cement head thick-neckers who can't break their necks because they're too thick and their skulls are too thick. And they're armed with Tato Smashers. And what are they going to do once they're in power? Once they've overthrown the government, arrested all the cops? They're going to sit there and rule the country with their Tato Smashers. Is that democracy? Hardly. They don't like the way the government's going, so they're just going to take it over with their Tato Smashers. That's it, coppers. Stand down. or join us. That's not the way democracy works. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. You got to win at the ballot box. And no ex-Marines are coming to help you with their potato smashers. I'm telling you. If you believe that, well, you might as well just send him more money. Or send Apollo Tabor money. Send him all your money. That was the guy who was going to have the global walkout on the 31st. These people give, honestly, the freedom movement a bad name. These are the problem. These guys are the problem. They're not the solution. Not even close. Makes me just want to mash my brains. But too late. They're doing it for me. And they're doing it to you, in case you hadn't noticed. Unfreaking believable. It is funny when you think about it. It's funny. And what's, it's funny, but it's also sad that so many people actually believe it. And every comment I'm reading is like overthrow. Thank you, Jesus, and our veterans. Yeah, well, now they're traitors. Okay? Because that's what happens when you act like that, when you do that kind of thing. Whose authority are they acting upon? Not the community, not the people. They're acting against the will of the people. And I don't care. You know what? I don't even care what side you're on as far as whether the last election was legitimate or not. The reality is Joe Biden's the president. Period. Okay? Like, legitimately or not, he's in power. Even if it was, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it is the opposite, doesn't matter. Because, in some countries, they stage coups, right? At the end of a gun or using other methods. And it doesn't matter. Because if you can rule a country in a variety of ways. But ultimately, you have to have the support of the people. And you can get the support of the people in a variety of ways. Either because they really like you and you're a merciful, philanthropic, charitable, kind, and generous leader, and the people love you and support you because you're nice to them, or you can rule with an iron fist and keep everybody afraid. And so they'll support you that way because they know if they get out of line, they'll get their brains smashed with potato smashers. Or you could dupe them and make them think that you're the legitimate leader, in which case you are. Even if you're not. Or it could be a mix of these things. But ultimately, if you're in power and you have the control of the military and the guns and the cops and the whole system, and the system is working, then you're in charge, baby. That's just the way it works. It doesn't even matter if you have one of these. The Constitution. Doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter. All that matters is that you have the authority and that the people don't rise up against you. As long as that doesn't, you can be them, you're in charge. You just tell, somebody gets out of line, you say, hey, coppers, you go down there and arrest that guy. So if you're in charge, you're in charge. And then ultimately, you see, if other nation states recognize that you're the leader, then you're the damn leader. Because when it comes time to negotiate something with the country, then they come to you because you're the president. It's the way it works, like it or not. So the way to get rid of the person you don't like in the White House is to vote them out. But if you think that a few dudes on Walmart rubber dinghies with potato smashers and, no, ex-military. Now, it might be an entirely different story if it was real military. And if there were actually a lot of military going in there, even if they were ex-military, forming up some sort of a military force to be reckoned with, and then you actually had some sort of a a coup happening or a military insurrection, an attempt to overthrow something, you think the mainstream media wouldn't be reporting on that? You think they wouldn't talk about it? They'd be all over that. Hell, Rachel Maddow was just telling you that she's afraid that if Trump gets elected, he won't want to leave office ever. So she's getting people upset about that. You don't think she would have a field day if Trump led, a bunch of ex-Marines on a military Operation Potato Smasher mission on Maui? They'd be all over it. Think about it. It's just ridiculous. And it's like, this is what people are talking about. Not regular people, folks. As I told you, this week I went to a potluck barbecue thingy, a big party thing. Like a whole bunch of people. There was like a end of summer community event. And nobody's talking about this there. Just people in our echo chamber where these videos are being fed to you over and over and over and over and over again, one after the other, so that you believe it. Just telling you. Sorry to be the bearer of real news or information. Hate me if you want. It's just the truth. It's not true. The truth is, it's not true. Those guys are lying to you. They're lying to you. Liar, liar, pants on fire. It's just as simple as that. It's just that simple. Liars. Liars.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I'm back, and it is time to go to our feature interview with Shawn Buckley of the National Citizens Inquiry. Time to get serious again. As you know, the National Citizens Inquiry was held during sessions across Canada to give Canadians who had no voice a voice during the pandemic. And I think that the NCI did an effective job of that. And they're in the process now of writing, 4 commissioners are in the process of writing a report with recommendations, which will ultimately be presented to the federal government. These recommendations will be non-binding, which means the government will not be compelled to enact any of the measures that might be outlined in this upcoming report. But nevertheless, it has been, I think, a constructive exercise. And you never know. As things progress, maybe the government at some point will start to listen to the people. And that's what the NCI was there for. Now, we're going to have to pull off YouTube to run this interview because of obvious reasons. So if you're watching right now on YouTube, if you want to continue to watch and you want to see this interview with Shawn Buckley, you will need to go over to our Rumble channel. So I'm going to post the link to Rumble in the chat. And there you go. And that's how you go over to the Rumble channel. And yes, I see that Lillian says, yes, I was wondering. She says, what happened with that, meaning the NCI? Yeah, a lot of people wondering. And so I'm very grateful to Shawn Buckley of the NCI for joining us tonight to explain what has been going on and update us on the progress there, because there's a lot more to come, and they've been very busy and they've done a lot of hard work. And I think it's been a very positive thing. So let me just go take another brief break while I get everything set up here, because we are going to jump off YouTube. I just want to give you guys just a moment to migrate over to our Rumble channel, the Maverick News Rumble channel, where we will continue with tonight's broadcast. Don't go away. I will be right back.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, so we're pulling off YouTube now. So please head on over to our Rumble channel. Goodbye, YouTube. Sorry, hate to go, but we gotta go. Adios. Your loss. Okay, so there's that YouTube.